If we do it right, without a doubt, this will be a blueprint for America. Those were the remarks of Democratic California State Sen. Stephen Bradford last week regarding the California Reparations Task Force. It's a first-of-its-kind project that, for over 2 years, has been crafting a series of policy recommendations outlining how the Golden State might soon adopt reparations for its black residents. Simply put, many black Californians could become eligible not only for cash payments as high as $5 million for each qualifying resident, but free tuition for kindergarten through college as well as housing grants. While, historically, pushes for reparations have floundered, Politico just ranked the task force as one of the 40 most powerful figures in politics today, fixing them alongside Vice President Kamala Harris, Florida Gov. Ron DeSantis, and even Twitter CEO Elon Musk. Yet the resumes and on-the-record commentary of key task force members affirm that this reparations scheme is nothing but another one of the left's unwelcome attempts at sowing racial division and nationwide Marxist chaos. Camilla Moore, chair of the task force, is a scholar on reparatory justice who has publicly vowed to be as radical as possible in deciding which Californians will qualify for reparations and how much money they will receive. In a recent interview with NPR last week, she also described her hopes that her reparations plans one day set precedent for federal legislation. I hope that this task force sets a precedent not only for what other states can do, but, of course, the federal government as well, because it's primarily the federal government's responsibility. They are the entity that has the big enough purse, for instance, to close the wealth gap, and so I do think that the task force is headed in the right direction in terms of that precedent setting. This interview came 2 days after Moore tweeted a translation of Proverbs 14:9 reading, "Fools mock at reparation, but among the upright there is favor." Worth noting is that the 2001 New English Translation, NET, is the only English translation of the Bible that uses the word reparation in this verse. The more well-known King James Version of the passage, for instance, reads, "Fools make a mock at sin, but among the righteous there is favor." Rev. Amos Brown, vice chair of the task force, has served as Kamala Harris's pastor since the 1990s, and is a recurring recipient of praise in her speeches, amidst the stumbling, rambling, and cackling when given questions she cannot answer. Brown is also president of the San Francisco branch of the NAACP, and is under fire right now from his constituents for missing a recent reparations hearing so that he could fly to Ghana with Harris and party with celebrities like Idris Elba, Rosario Dawson, and Spike Lee. Lisa Holder, one of Newsom's 5 appointees to the task force, is a trial attorney and grantee of the Soros Justice Fellowship from the Open Society Foundations, a project founded by left-wing megadonor George Soros himself. As president of the far-left Equal Justice Society, Holder penned an op-ed last month arguing that California's reparations policies must be nothing less than breathtaking. Like Moore, Holder emphasized sweeping government initiatives rivaling the Great Society programs of Medicare and Medicaid. She went on to assure readers that the task force's recommendations will comport with United Nations guidelines on reparation for victims of gross violations of international human rights. In August 2022, Task Force member Monica Montgomery Steppe released an op-ed in the San Diego Union Tribune discussing her own 50-state aspirations for this new reparations agenda. California can right its wrongs by leading our nation as an example of how reparations should occur. As a member of the San Diego City Council, Steppe has also fought California's Proposition 209, a law preventing the state of California and local governments from considering race, sex, color, ethnicity, or national origin when awarding public contracts to businesses. If Proposition 209 were repealed, government agencies in California would have license to give preferential treatment to women and minority-owned businesses in awarding such contracts. Of course, in recognizing that getting elected and re-elected is every politician's main priority, one finds a possibility that this task force's efforts will not survive California's legislative process if enough state Democrats value the political benefits of campaigning on reparations more than whatever benefits they foresee in enacting them. In either case, the engineers behind this agenda have blazoned their dream of federalizing reparations, a catastrophe which would constitute the largest wealth transfer in history. Yet, recent indications that the task force could request a reparations budget 3 times the size of the state's annual budget force us to confront one final question: if California, perhaps the most flagrantly blue state in the country, must bankrupt itself to make amends for past racial injustices, then how steep a price would these reparationists like to see red states pay? Slavery will forever be a stain on our great country's legacy, but no amount of sacrifice will ever satisfy those who quietly dream of America's destruction.